The mistake? The story opens in the Grand Council chamber of the Talkar Empire, the most powerful military force in the galaxy. General Vex stands before the High Command, his blue-scaled skin gleaming under the harsh lights. The Talkar have conquered 47 star systems in the past century, and their hunger for expansion knows no bounds. The humans, Vex declares, pointing to a holographic display showing Earth, are nothing more than primitive mammals clinging to a single world. They have no real military to speak of, no shields, no plasma weapons. They still use crude projectile weapons and chemical explosives. The council members, all seasoned warriors from different conquered species, nod in agreement. Admiral Kex, a towering reptilian with 4 arms, laughs coldly. Their ships are slow and bulky, made of basic metals. They cannot even travel faster than light without those pathetic jump gates. Commander Rax, scarred from countless battles, adds his voice to the discussion. Our scouts report they have no united government. They fight among themselves constantly. Humans are divided into hundreds of small nations, all squabbling over resources. The hologram shifts to show human cities, bustling with activity but seemingly defenseless. No massive shield generators protect them. No orbital defense platforms hover overhead. The humans appear to go about their daily lives completely unaware of the threat approaching from the stars. Look at them, General Vex continues, his voice dripping with contempt. They waste time on art, music, and stories. They keep pets. They cry over fictional characters in their entertainment. What kind of warrior species shows such weakness? The Talkar intelligence reports paint a picture of a species that seems almost laughably unprepared for war. Humans spend more resources on feeding their poor than on military research. They have laws protecting their weak and elderly. They debate ethics before taking action. To the Talkar, these are signs of a species ripe for conquest. Their technology is centuries behind ours, Admiral Keck states confidently. While we have mastered energy shields and plasma cannons, they still rely on kinetic weapons, bullets and missiles, primitive armor. They have no experience fighting a real spacefaring military. What the Talkar fail to understand is that humanity's apparent weakness masks something far more dangerous. Earth's scattered nations have been fighting each other for thousands of years, developing tactics and strategies born from desperation and survival. Every human conflict has been a laboratory for warfare, creating a species that knows how to adapt, improvise, and overcome seemingly impossible odds. The Council votes unanimously for invasion. They see humans as easy prey, a species that will surrender quickly once faced with superior firepower. General Vex estimates the entire campaign will take no more than 6 months. We will demand their surrender first, he announces. Give them a chance to submit peacefully. When they refuse, we will demonstrate our power by destroying one of their major cities. The rest will fall in line immediately. The Talkar begin preparing their invasion fleet. 300 warships, armed with the finest weapons their empire has to offer. Energy shields that can deflect any known projectile. Plasma cannons capable of glassing entire continents. Troop transports carrying millions of elite soldiers who have never known defeat. As the fleet prepares to depart, Admiral Kex makes one final observation. The humans have one thing we can respect. They have spread to many worlds in their small corner of space. But they are still primitives. Their colonies are barely defended. We will take them one by one until Earth stands alone. What none of the Talkar commanders realize is that humanity's colonies are not just settlements. They are fortresses. Each world has been carefully prepared for exactly this kind of invasion. The humans may appear weak and divided, but they have learned one crucial lesson from their violent history. Always be ready for war. The fleet launches with great ceremony. Talkar citizens across the Empire watch the broadcasts with pride, knowing their military is about to add another easy conquest to their collection. General Vex addresses the troops one final time before entering jump space. Remember, he tells his commanders, these humans are not warriors. They are farmers and shopkeepers, playing at being soldiers. Show them what real military power looks like. and they will surrender without firing a shot. The massive fleet disappears into the darkness between stars, carrying with it the confidence of a species that has never known defeat. Behind them, the Talkar High Command begins planning the administrative structure for their newest territories. None of them suspect that they are flying toward the greatest military disaster in galactic history. First contact, the Talkar invasion fleet drops out of jump space at the edge of the Sol system, their massive ships casting shadows across the asteroid belt. General Vex stands on the bridge of his flagship, the Conqueror, watching the scanner, displays with satisfaction. Everything appears exactly as their intelligence predicted. "Sir," Communications Officer Nex reports, "we are detecting multiple human vessels approaching our position. They appear to be cargo ships and civilian transports." Vex frowns at the display. The approaching human ships are indeed primitive-looking, with basic metal hulls and simple chemical propulsion systems. But something seems wrong. Why would civilians approach a hostile fleet? "Open a communication channel," Vex orders. "Let us see how these humans react to real military power." The main screen flickers to life, showing the interior of what appears to be a human cargo vessel. A middle-aged man in a simple blue uniform sits calmly at the controls, showing no fear despite facing the largest military fleet in galactic history. "This is Captain Tom of the freighter Lucky Strike," the human says in a steady voice. "You're not from around here, are you?" Admiral Keck steps forward, his forearms crossed in a gesture of intimidation. "We are the Talkar Empire. We have come to claim this system for our own. You will surrender immediately or face destruction." Captain Tom scratches his beard thoughtfully. "Well, that's not very neighborly. You might want to reconsider that." "Plan." The casual response infuriates the Talkar commanders. This primitive human should be cowering in terror, begging for mercy. Instead, he acts as if he is speaking to equals. "You dare threaten us?" General Vex roars. "We command 300 warships armed with weapons beyond your comprehension. Your pathetic cargo vessels are no match for our power." "Oh, these old things." Captain Tom glances around his ship with amusement. "You're right. They're not much to look at, but appearances can be deceiving." On the Talkar bridge, warning alarms suddenly begin blaring. Tactical Officer Zed stares at his displays in confusion. "Sir, I'm detecting massive energy signatures from the human vessels. They're powering up weapons systems I've never seen before." The cargo ships begin to transform. Hidden armor plating slides into place. Concealed weapon ports open along their hulls. What had appeared to be simple civilian vessels reveal themselves as heavily armed warships disguised as harmless freighters. "You see?" Captain Tom continues conversationally. "Humans learned a long time ago that the best way to win a fight is to make sure the other guy doesn't know he's in one until it's too late." More human ships appear on the scanners, dropping out of stealth mode throughout the system. They had been there all along, waiting and watching. The Talkar invasion fleet finds itself surrounded by vessels that their sensors had completely failed to detect. "This is impossible," Admiral Kex whispers. "Our scanners showed nothing but empty space." "Stealth technology," Captain Tom explains, helpfully. "We've been working on it for a while now. Amazing what you can accomplish when you assume everyone in the galaxy wants to kill you." General Vex rallies quickly from his shock. "It does not matter. We still outnumber you 3-1. Your weapons cannot penetrate our shields." "Let's test that theory," Captain Tom says. The human ships open fire simultaneously, but instead of the expected energy beams or plasma bolts, they launch what appear to be simple metal projectiles. The Talkar commanders laugh as their shields effortlessly deflect the primitive kinetic weapons. "Is that all?" Vex sneers. "We expected more from the species that conquered their own world." Then the projectiles explode. The Talkar shields, designed to deflect energy weapons and solid objects, prove completely useless against the electromagnetic pulse weapons hidden inside the seemingly primitive missiles. One by one, the invasion fleet's shields flicker and die. Rule number 1 of human warfare: Captain Tom announces as the second wave of missiles streaks toward the now defenseless Talcar ships. Never show your enemy your real weapons until you're ready to use them. The explosions that follow light up the darkness of space. Talcar warships, their shields down and their armor designed to work in conjunction with energy barriers, crumple under the impact of weapons that combine kinetic force with electromagnetic disruption. Within minutes, half the invasion fleet is drifting dead in space. General Vex stares at his tactical display in disbelief. How is this possible? Our intelligence said they were primitives. Your intelligence was wrong, Captain Tom replies. See, here's the thing about humans. We've been fighting wars for thousands of years. We know every trick, every strategy, every dirty tactic that works. And we've learned that the best way to survive is to make sure your enemies underestimate you right up until the moment you destroy them. The hunt begins. The surviving Talcar ships scatter across the Sol system, their formation broken and their confidence shattered. General Vex struggles to regain control of his fleet as emergency reports flood in from damaged vessels. The humans have done something no species has ever accomplished. They have bloodied the nose of the mighty Talcar Empire. All ships fall. Back to defensive positions, Vex orders through gritted teeth. Regroup at the outer system marker, but the humans have no intention of letting them retreat. The disguised warships pursue the fleeing Talcar vessels with ruthless efficiency, their weapon systems now fully revealed. What had seemed like a simple cargo convoy has transformed into a pack of predators, hunting their prey through the darkness. Commander Rax, aboard the cruiser Dominator, watches his scanner display with growing alarm. Sir, they're not following standard fleet tactics. Each human ship is operating independently, using different approach vectors and attack patterns. This is something the Talcar have never encountered before. Every military force they have faced operates with rigid discipline and predictable formations. The humans fight like a swarm, each ship adapting its tactics to the specific situation, while maintaining coordination with the others. Captain Tom drops his friendly demeanor as his ship closes on a damaged Talcar destroyer. This is Commander Williams of the UES Deception. All Talcar vessels are ordered to surrender immediately. You have entered human space with hostile intent. You will be treated as enemy combatants. Admiral Kex, his forearms working frantically, at his control station, refuses to accept the reality of the situation. We are the Talcar Empire. We do not surrender to primitives. The human response is swift and brutal. The Deception launches a barrage of missiles that seem to think for themselves, adjusting their course to intercept the Talcar ship's evasive maneuvers. The destroyer's hull buckles under the impact, venting atmosphere and debris into space. Those missiles, Tactical Officer Zed reports with barely concealed panic. They're guided by artificial intelligence. They learn from our defensive patterns and adapt their attack strategies in real time. General Vex realizes with growing horror that the humans have not simply matched Talcar technology. They have surpassed it through sheer ingenuity. Where the Talcar rely on overwhelming firepower and energy shields, the humans have developed weapons that think, adapt, and overcome any defense. The battle spreads throughout the solar system as human reinforcements arrive from every direction. Ships emerge from behind asteroids, rise from the shadows of planetary rings, and decloak from seemingly empty space. The Sol system, which had appeared defenseless, reveals itself to be the most heavily fortified star system in known space. Sir, Communications Officer Nex reports, his voice shaking. I'm receiving transmissions from Mars, Europa, Titan, and the asteroid mining stations. They're all military installations. The entire system is one massive fortress. The humans have learned from their own history. Every major conflict on Earth taught them that the defender who controls the terrain has the advantage. They have turned their entire solar system into a battlefield where every asteroid, every moon, and every seemingly empty patch of space conceals weapons and warriors. A new voice cuts through the tactical chatter. This is Admiral Roberts of VAI, the Terran Defense Force. Talcar Fleet, You are completely surrounded and outgunned. Stand down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Admiral Roberts speaks from the bridge of humanity's flagship, a massive vessel that has just decloaked directly behind the Talcar formation. The Retribution dwarfs even the largest Talcar ships, its hull bristling with weapon systems that represent centuries of human military innovation. Impossible, General Vex breathes. Our scouts reported no ships of that size. Modular construction, Admiral Roberts explains. We built it in pieces throughout the system and assembled it while you were making your grand entrance. Another trick we learned from our ancestors. Always have a bigger stick ready when you need it. The remaining Talcar ships find themselves caught between the pursuing human fleet and the newly revealed dreadnought. Their weapons, designed to overwhelm through superior firepower, prove ineffective against human ships that seem to anticipate every move. What the Talcar fail to understand is that humans have spent millennia perfecting the art of warfare against opponents who were stronger, faster, or better armed. Every human tactic is built on the assumption that the enemy has some advantage that must be overcome through cunning, preparation, and sheer bloody-minded determination. Last chance, Admiral Roberts announces. Surrender now, or we will demonstrate why humans have survived every attempt to destroy them for the past 10,000 years. The hunt has become a slaughter, and the Talcar are beginning to understand that they have not attacked a primitive species. They have declared war on the apex predators of the galaxy. The price of underestimation. The Talcar fleet, once a symbol of imperial might, now drifts in scattered pieces throughout the Sol system. Of the 300 warships that had entered human space with such confidence, fewer than 50 remain operational. General Vex sits in his damaged command chair, watching his life's work crumble around him. Sir, Commander Rax reports from the tactical station, his voice hollow with defeat. We've lost contact with the Devastator, the Iron Fist, and the Star Crusher. That's our entire third battle group. The humans have not just defeated the Talcar fleet, they have dissected it with surgical precision. Every attack targets specific vulnerabilities that the Talcar never knew they had. Their shields, their armor, their weapons, all the technology that had conquered 47 star systems proves useless against an enemy that fights with a combination of advanced science and ancient wisdom. Admiral Roberts' voice cuts through the tactical chatter with calm authority. Talcar command vessel, this is your final warning. Surrender immediately or face complete destruction. General C. Vex's pride wars with his survival instinct. The Talcar have never surrendered in their entire military history, but they have also never faced an enemy like humanity. What do you want from us? Vex finally asks, his voice carrying the weight of defeat. First, Admiral Roberts replies, you will order all remaining ships to power down their weapons and prepare for boarding. Second, you will provide us with complete intelligence on your Empire's military capabilities and territories. Third, you will carry a message back to your High Command. The message Admiral Roberts wants delivered strikes fear into the hearts of the Talcar survivors. It is not a demand for tribute or territory. It is something far more terrifying. A promise. Tell your leaders, Admiral Roberts says, that humanity did not seek this war. But since you have brought it to our doorstep, we will finish it. Every world you have conquered, every species you have enslaved, every act of aggression your empire has committed, we will hold you accountable for all of it. The remaining Talcar ships power down their weapons, their crews recognizing the futility of further resistance. Human boarding parties move through the disabled vessels with military efficiency, securing weapons and gathering intelligence. But what disturbs the Talcar prisoners most is the humans' behavior. They expected the humans to be cruel conquerors, to gloat over their victory. Instead, the human soldiers treat their prisoners with professional respect, providing medical care for the wounded and ensuring that captured crew members are fed and housed properly. This is not the behavior of a primitive species. It is the conduct of a military force that has learned to win wars without losing its humanity. Commander Rax, now a prisoner aboard the human flagship, finds himself in conversation with a human Officer named Lieutenant Davis. Your people, Rack says hesitantly. They fight like no species we have ever encountered. How is this possible? Lieutenant Davis, a young woman with scars that speak of previous battles, considers the question carefully. We've been at war with ourselves for our entire recorded history. Every human military academy studies thousands of conflicts, millions of tactical scenarios. We've learned from every victory and every defeat. When you attacked us, you weren't fighting a single military force. You were fighting the accumulated military knowledge of our entire species. The true scope of the disaster begins to sink in as more intelligence reports reach the surviving Talkar commanders. The human colonies throughout their local space cluster are not the barely defended settlements the Talkar expected. Each world is a fortress, armed with weapons that make the Sol system defenses look primitive by comparison. How many soldiers do you have? General Vex asks Admiral Roberts during the formal surrender ceremony. Every human is a soldier when they need to be, Roberts replies. We have 4 billion people in our colonies and another 8 billion on Earth. Every one of them knows how to fight. Every one of them will fight if threatened. That's 12 billion people who understand that the only way to guarantee peace is to be ready for war. The mathematics of the situation become clear to Vex with crushing finality. The Talkar Empire has perhaps 50 million active military personnel spread across their conquered territories. Humanity has 240 times that number, all of them trained in military tactics from childhood, all of them armed with weapons that the Talkar cannot counter. You're not going to conquer our empire, Vex realizes. You're going to liberate it. Admiral Roberts nods grimly. Every species your people have enslaved will be freed. Every world you have stripped of resources will be restored. The age of Talkar expansion is over. The message that General Vex carries back to the Talkar High Command is simple. Humanity has accepted their declaration of war, and the humans intend to win it completely. The galaxy learns. 3 months after the disaster at Sol, the Talkar High Command sits in emergency session. The once proud council chamber feels like a tomb as General Vex delivers his report to the assembled leaders. The holographic displays show a strategic nightmare, human fleets moving through Talkar space like wildfire, liberating conquered worlds and turning the Empire's own tactics against them. They move like ghosts, Vex reports, his voice hollow with exhaustion. Our patrols detect nothing until the attacks begin. Then human ships appear from nowhere, strike with devastating precision, and vanish before our reinforcements arrive. Supreme Commander Thane, the scarred veteran who has led the Talkar military for 30 years, studies the tactical displays with growing disbelief. How many worlds have we lost? 14 systems in the past month, Admiral Kex replies, his forearms hanging limply at his sides. The humans don't just defeat our forces. They turn the liberated populations against us. Every species we conquered is now fighting alongside humanity. The strategic situation has become impossible. The Talkar Empire, built on military superiority and fear, has encountered an enemy that refuses to be intimidated. Worse, the humans have proven that the Talkar are not the invincible force they believe themselves to be. They're using our own infrastructure against us, Commander Rax adds from his position at the intelligence console. The humans capture our supply depots and communication networks intact, then use them to coordinate attacks on our remaining forces. They know our systems better than we do. What the Talkar fail to understand is that humanity's approach to warfare is fundamentally different from their own. Where the Talkar seek to conquer and control, humans seek to liberate and build alliances. Every freed world becomes a base for further operations, and every liberated species provides intelligence and support for the human war effort. The holographic display shifts to show the Kepler system, where human forces have just completed another liberation campaign. The planet's native species, the Mer Tai, had been enslaved by the Talkar for over a century. Now they fight alongside human soldiers, their knowledge of Talkar tactics and weaknesses proving invaluable. The Mertai have provided us with detailed intelligence on Talcar military protocols, reports Captain Martinez of the Liberation Fleet. They've also shared information about other enslaved worlds that need our help. Supreme Commander Thane realizes that the Empire faces something it has never encountered before, a war of liberation that grows stronger with every victory. Each world the humans free adds to their strength, while each defeat weakens the Talcar hold on their remaining territories. What do they want? Thane asks desperately. Tribute? Territory? What will make them stop? General Vex shakes his head. They want complete surrender, nothing less. They've told every species in the galaxy that the age of the Talcar Empire is over. The truth is even worse than the Talcar leadership can imagine. Humanity has not simply defeated one military force, they have started a galactic revolution. Species that had never dared to resist Talcar rule are now rising up, inspired by human victories and supported by human weapons and tactics. News of the human campaign spreads through the galaxy with unprecedented speed. Advanced civilizations that had watched the Talcar expansion with concern now see an opportunity to end the threat permanently. Primitive worlds that had lived in fear of eventual conquest begin to hope for a future of freedom. Sir, Communications Officer Nex reports, we're receiving surrender offers from our own colonial governors. They're abandoning their posts and fleeing to the core worlds. The Talcar Empire, built over centuries of conquest, is collapsing in months. The humans have proven that the Empire's greatest weakness is its dependence on fear and intimidation. Once that fear is broken, the entire structure falls apart. In the end, Supreme Commander Thane makes the decision that will define the fate of his species. Send a message to the human fleet. We wish to negotiate terms of surrender. Admiral Roberts receives the Talcar surrender offer aboard the Retribution, now leading a fleet of 3,000 ships representing dozens of liberated worlds. The message is brief and formal, stripped of the arrogance that had characterized previous Talcar communications. Terms are simple, Roberts replies. Complete disarmament, restoration of all conquered territories, reparations for enslaved populations, and most importantly, a guarantee that the Talcar will never again threaten any species in this galaxy. The war that began with Talcar confidence ends with their complete capitulation. The species that had believed itself to be the galaxy's apex predator learns that they had merely been bullying those too weak to fight back. When they finally encountered a species that had evolved through constant warfare, they discovered what real military power looked like. The galaxy remembers. The lesson? Never underestimate humanity, the end.